Hi, my name's Sydney and welcome to my garden. In today's video, I was working on getting my shade cloth up for the year. This was back in March where we have our air show, so there might be some noisy bits in here. The first thing I wanted to work on was getting some steel cable up in my larger openings to stop the shade cloth from sagging. So I first assembled the steel cable ends with these turnbuckles before I went to go hang them up. Don't mind the Dollar General bag flapping in the wind on my trees. I've asked many a bird to go get it down for me. So far, none have listened. I did end up changing from the wire cable to just more conduit in a couple places and zip ties in this place. The turnbuckles kept coming loose for me in the wind. I'm not sure if I had a cheaper turnbuckle or if this is not the best application for them, but if you can find another way to make the wire cable tight, I still think this is an excellent option. And here's the wire cable all finished. And then I guess I took a little break to take a little stroll about. And then I started to hang the shade cloth. And I used these bungee thingy majigs that you can find when you look up shade cloth. We had a really weird spring this year and we kept having random heat waves, like a random day in the 90s all the way in March and February. So I decided to reuse these poles that I thought originally would be my shade structure a few years ago, but that did not work out. But I thought I would reuse these poles and extend the shade cloth all the way to the end where I have my grapes, which the grapes can handle it, but I also have blueberries back here, and I lost all my blueberries last year, and my raspberries died down to the root, which is not good because they set fruit on old wood. So I'm not even getting any raspberries this year, so I decided I should extend my shade structure all the way to the wall. this is under the shade cloth finished for now. We had an unusually windy day in the spring. I would say it was pretty close to the level of winds we see for the monsoon. So these turnbuckle supports that I had right here started tearing through this new shade cloth. So I'm glad I ended up buying another cheap $20 black shade cloth instead of the really expensive white shade cloth, custom sized to go the full span, until I 100% perfect this shade structure. So I took off that little turnbuckle support in this middle one and added an EMT support here in the middle. Our winds tend to come from the west and kind of pull everything that way, so I wanted to add horizontal supports to add to the strength. So I've got that one there in the middle. I've got these three connecting the shade structure for these beds onto this shade structure that goes across those beds. So that is that support there. I did 3 on this side because this is roughly 7 feet. So I did 3. Over here I just added 2. This one and that one up there, because this is only 3 feet apart. And this shade structure was an original one from last year in the monsoons. Kind of bent it out of shape and everything was leaning towards the west. So I also added those supports because it just really bothers me to see it leaning, and it's still leaning somewhat, but it's good enough. So I'm hoping all of these supports are going to give it communal strength, and I feel pretty good about it. This feels like shaking it. This feels more solid as I was adding these on there. So I think this is going to be good. And then 1 year when I fully have defeated the monsoon winds and I'm happy with this shade structure, I'll finally order that white shade cloth, which is really expensive, across the whole garden, so I don't have any of these ugly seams of ones that I'm kind of Frankensteining together. But for now, I feel good about this. We had a heat wave a couple of weeks ago. We had a heat wave a couple of weeks ago when I put this shade structure up. Then we dropped back down to like the 60s and 70s for a high for a couple weeks. But the end of the 10-day is looking pretty, well, the middle of the 10 days looking pretty scary, into the 90s all the way up to, I think I saw like a 98 in April. That's crazy. And then back down to the 80s at the end of the 10 days. So I'm ready for any of those fluctuations because I have my shade cloth up early. So I think it's going to be good. Thanks so much for watching. And if you live in a place with really hot summers and really high UV index, I would suggest a shade cloth over your vegetable garden to keep everything happy. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please feel free to subscribe. I'd love to see you around next time. Happy gardening. Bye.